let's talk about freelancing in fashion and what it is and what it isn't. So, when a lot of people talk about freelancing in fashion, there's this sort of space in the industry that people call freelancing in fashion, where you work 40 hours a week on site for a brand. You are locked and tied into their agenda, their pay scale, their workload. You pretty much show up and act like an employee, but you're a full-time freelancer. You don't get any benefits. You don't get paid time off or sick leave. And it's actually quite abusive to our industry. The brand is getting you at their beck and call, and you're not getting any of the benefits of being at their beck and call. This is something that the fashion industry has trained us into thinking, yes, like we're animals, into thinking that freelance actually is. You find these full-time freelance jobs on industry sites like Style Careers and other job boards, and they're really, really abusive. This is not freelancing. In many states, this is actually illegal for a brand or a company in any industry to make you show up on site and work at their hours, on their location, on their schedule, but not give you the benefits of being an employee, all right? But this is what a lot of people in fashion think that freelancing is. Alternatively, I want to tell you what freelancing actually is. So freelancing in fashion actually is where you are in control of your schedule, when and where you work. You work with a variety of different brands. You've got different clients. You don't have to show up on site. I mean, sure, if you've got clients locally, you can go in and work in their office maybe for an afternoon or do a meeting or do a fitting or something like that. But true freelancing is where you have the flexibility and the freedom to work with different clients, different brands. You set your own rates. Your earning potential is unlimited. And if you're curious about what your earning potential is, I do have a cash calculator, which is a super fun tool. You plug in 2 numbers and it will spit out what your earning potential is as a freelancer. I've linked to that below the video. But this is what true freelancing is. You're in control. You're working with multiple brands. You're not forced to show up 40 hours a week. These full-time freelance jobs that you see out there on Style Careers and other industry job boards are really just temp jobs in disguise. I call them permalancing. You're sort of like permanently there, but you're this like partly freelancer, but not really. Now, true remote freelancing opportunities, these jobs, these gigs, they're not listed. They're not listed on job boards like Style Careers. They are found, they are discovered, they are uncovered. I'm going to tell you more about that in a second, but I want to set the foundation and let you know that true remote freelancing is actually way more accessible than getting a job in the industry, whether it's a freelance job or an actual full-time job where you get benefits. It doesn't matter how much experience you have, and it doesn't matter where you live. Let me tell you some stories. So first of all, my personal career in the fashion industry, I've been in the industry for about 15 years, and I did get my first job in the industry without any experience, without having gone to fashion school as an employee. I wound up hating life because it was very toxic and abusive working in that fashion job, and I quit that job to pursue freelancing. After only having less than 2 years in experience as a designer in the industry, I broke into freelancing. I had a lot of trial and error and a lot of failure at the beginning, but I ultimately wound up earning $100,000 plus a year. That was compared to my full-time salary, which was about $22,000 a year, an insane jump. Beyond that, I'm not the only person to have had this sort of magical unicorn success. This success is very, very accessible and very possible. Let me share some stories from some of our freelance accelerator students who are crushing it. So first up is Eleni. Eleni had no real design or industry experience when she broke into the industry as a freelancer. And she is doing true remote work with brands around the world, exclusively offering tech packs. She lives in Greece and she has the flexibility to go visit her family and to travel when and where she wants. And she gets her work done when she wants. She's not tied to a freelance desk job that is 40 hours a week in-house. Beyond that, there is KATERINA. KATERINA lives in Macedonia, and she splits her time between Macedonia and Italy, where her partner is and her family is. And she works as a freelance textile designer. In her first year of freelancing, she earned more than she had earned in her previous year as a full-time employee in the fashion industry. Beyond that, she's getting to work on textile design and just do the parts of the process that she loves. When she was working full-time in the industry, she was doing tech packs and she didn't really love that. She decided to pursue something more creative as a freelancer, which is what you have the opportunity to do when you are doing true remote freelance work. If you're in one of these permalance temp jobs, you're not getting to choose what you do and what clients you take on. You sit there and you take the work that they give you like an employee does. Beyond that, there's ARYA, and ARYA broke into the industry as a freelancer with zero fashion industry experience, no jobs, no nothing, did not go to fashion school. She's 20 years old. She lives in India, and she too works with brands around the world exclusively doing fashion flats. So she took this skill that was a little bit more of an entry-level skill doing fashion flats, right? It's nothing complicated or complex as, I shouldn't say it's not complicated, but it's not as complicated or complex as pattern drafting or sourcing or having resources with factories and understanding how that whole process works. She took this process of doing fashion flats where she was totally self-taught from a lot of my free tutorials, and she's crushing it, having the freedom and flexibility to work around the world. These are stories of true freelancing in fashion, right? Not permalance, temp, abusive jobs that the industry is littered with. Now, if you care to hear more about these specific stories, you can check out some episodes on my podcast, Successful Fashion Freelancer, where I talk with real life freelancers who are making it doing true remote work. But beyond that, let's talk a little bit about what you can do as a freelancer. So you might have gained from the story examples I just shared with you, you might have gained the insight that you can do any part of the process. You can do fashion flats, you can do tech packs, you can do pattern making or drafting, you can do design, which could be trend and color research and inspiration, merchandising, print and textile design, sourcing, product development, consulting, so many different things you can do as a freelancer. And you, as a true remote freelancer in fashion, get to choose which parts of the process you want to do and which parts of the process you don't want to do. If you are curious about more ideas of what you could do as a true remote freelancer, what kind of services you could offer, what kind of brand you could work with, I have a free niche finder. It's this fun worksheet template that you can download and work through in 2 minutes and get some inspiration and brainstorm on what you could offer as a freelancer in fashion. I'll link that below. And then beyond that, once you have figured out your services, you might be wondering, where do I find clients, right? I mentioned before that you don't find true remote freelance jobs listed on industry job boards like Style Careers or Indeed or Monster or LinkedIn or any of those job boards. You find them in 2 places. Now, the first is on Instagram, and I don't mean that you do this by creating a perfectly curated grid and feed and using strategic hashtags. That is going to get you nowhere. Alternatively, there's this really simple hashtag hack you can use to sort of backwards engineer your way into finding freelance opportunities. It's a little complicated to explain on video, but I have a free tutorial that walks you through how to do this. It's my free masterclass for how to find freelance clients in the fashion industry. I cover using Instagram to find freelance clients in that. It's linked below. But I'll tell you quickly before you check that out, the second place, right? First place is Instagram. The second place is trade show listings. Trade show listings are a gold mine for finding potential freelance opportunities. Again, there's some sort of interesting, simple hacks that you can use to use these 2 tools to find clients. You don't have to live in a fashion hub. You don't need industry experience or have gone to a fashion school, and you don't need a network. It doesn't matter where you live. You can live anywhere in the world, and you can use these 2 tools to find freelance clients. So I'm going to link to that masterclass below. Check that out. It's absolutely free. And I would love to show you how you can kickstart your freelance career. Thank you so much for watching this video. I am so Heidi. If you like what you've seen, please subscribe for more videos and regular updates. I also have a ton of free resources on my website, which we'll link, and a top-rated podcast on Apple Podcasts for freelancing and fashion, successful fashion freelancer. And I interview real life, true remote freelancers who are making this lifestyle a reality. They are working when and where they want with the true freedom and flexibility that you get as a freelancer in fashion. So I'll link to all that below. Thank you again so much for watching, and I'll talk to you soon.